Okay, my friends, Char du jour.
Hi Roger, how you doing? You know, funny thing, and it's kind of always the case, but I just didn't realise until today. But I have a habit of kind of forgetting you exist until members of your completely insufferable audience come along and have a go at me without even attempting to refute any of the things I say while telling me what a big brain you are. And then I go and see what ridiculous nonsense you have said, and then a video happens. Seriously, I just thought I should point that out, that this is happening and it is your fault, Roger's gullible idiot fans. So maybe you shouldn't be getting mad at me when this happens. Get mad at each other.
I've been telling you, no question whatsoever, space
is not a vacuum, apparently. Yeah, that one did catch my eye as a video title, not gonna lie. And it is, of course, ludicrous nonsense. I mean, you could be a pedantic butthole and say, like, well, technically, it's not a perfect vacuum and blah, blah, blah. Well, the ocean's not perfectly full of water. There's fish and rocks and all sorts of other shit in it, including shit, actually. But no one would claim that it isn't fucking wet. Well, okay, some people would, but they are almost as exhausting as Roger's fans are and can be safely ignored.
And everything there is saturated with
cum?
Life.
Close enough. And saturated, eh? No, it fucking isn't, Roger. What are you kidding me? For starters, again, it is a freaking vacuum, which, by the way, doesn't really come up in this video. I think he just titled it that way as a last minute. Also, this ridiculously stupid thing, I believe. But yeah, while certain life forms can survive in that thing for extended periods, it's not exactly conducive to there being a shit ton of it. And yeah, if there was tons of life out in space, I think that we would have fucking noticed. I don't know how Roger thinks he knows that there is all of it there, but then again, he thinks that Jupiter has a giant fucking vagina, so I'm pretty sure he will believe anything so long as it's absurd and utterly, obviously untrue.
Listen to this. Bacteria and other microbes are present in space.
Oh god no, Roger's found AI, a thing famously good at being all sorts of wrong about all sorts of subjects, and is really bad for being something that you can kind of convince to say things that are just completely untrue, if you work at it long enough to find the right prompt. But as I always say, there's nothing wrong with using it as a singular tool, among others, to figure shit out, but obviously Roger is going to use it and only it because why actually read the research when you can have the AI pretend you have for you?
They're out there, they're everywhere.
That's not what it said, Roger. It said that bacteria has been found in space, not that everywhere we look in space there's bacteria and it won't leave us alone and it keeps inviting itself to our high-class house parties. It says it has been found. I mean, there's gold in my computer. That doesn't mean that it's a solid lump of this shit. Wouldn't work very well if it was, I think. I mean, it is magic, so who knows?
It says including on the International Space Station. They find them all over the place.
There is a clue there, Roger. A big honking clue as to where the shit comes from. And again, they didn't say all over the place. You are just making an inference based on something that they didn't say. The kind of reading between the lines shit that allows you to believe basically anything. The bacteria that we have found in space, every last piece of it that we know of comes from Earth, you fucking moron. It's all terrestrial because Earth is literally the only place we know for sure any life exists. And if that wasn't the case, again, we would know about it. It would be all over the place. And just because you think you know better doesn't make you right.
These are all the different bacteria they found. They say they found them on the space station. Well, that's because they're floating around in space.
No, Roger, it's because they fucking brought it with them, you colossal dipshit. You would be the sort of idiot who goes into a restaurant and then complains that there's hair, skin, and human body parts in their food as it falls off your rotting carcass. Although, to be fair, you would only think that you had found it if there was rocks in there, because if you didn't know, Roger thinks that rocks are all alive, because he's a moron who thinks if something is the shape of whatever thing, then it must be that thing. And then he wonders why real academics and scientists think he's a crank.
Space smells like steak.
I can't say for sure, but if I was a betting boy, I would definitely take high odds that he's gonna say, well, something really stupid, obviously, probably in the genre of, well, if it smells like steak, that's because space is actually meat, or at least like meat particles are out there, or something incredibly absurd like that. Again, Jupagina, never forget.
Did you know that? The astronauts go out in their suits. They walk around, they do this, they do that.
They do this and that, do they? Yeah, that's unsurprising that the depth of Roger's understanding of a spacewalk is they do this, they do that. Probably just going out to check the gas meter or maybe clean off the spaceport from all the space bacteria that they definitely didn't bring with them. I mean, it's not like they came from a planet crawling with this shit and not just crawling but swimming and flying and everything in between. Yeah, no, they clean those space rockets perfectly, don't they? So it must be from somewhere else somehow.
They come back and they take the suit off and I say, smells like a sirloin.
I am pretty sure they don't stick their outfits into their noses and take a good hard whiff, dude. That would be considered a bit of a stupid move, but I'm sure you're the kind of person who, no matter what it is, you just got to give it the taste test. I mean, you have to be sure that's dog shit on your shoes, right?
You see this?
What, the bad cut or the infamous feather? I shouldn't give him shit, at least he does some form of editing, although I'm convinced at this point his editing is basically to stop and start recording, but whatever, it's better than nothing. Although nothing is also better than all of Roger's content. So, and no, I do not mean that in the complimentary way.
Astronauts describe the smell of space metallic, acrid, smoky, gunpowder, burnt meat, welding fumes.
So they don't say it smells of steak. Well done, Roger. 2 seconds after you say a thing, you show something that demonstrates that's not exactly accurate. It's clear from the litany of things that they say it smells like. Saying it smells of steak isn't really what's happening there. What it seems to smell of is like burnt all sorts of things, actually. And I imagine the experiences of the people smelling them highly influence what they think it smells of. But the more important part is the idea of it being charred, and most people are going to experience that with, you guessed it, food. One person said it reminded them of burnt almond cookies, about as far away from steak as you can get, but with one thing in common, you know, the burnt bit. Almost like that is the important takeaway. Although don't get burnt takeaway, it'll really suck.
This is all metals that are burning.
Metal? I mean, not really. Sure, there's a bit of the old metallic compounds in a lot of that stuff. Like, there's potassium nitrate in gunpowder that, while not metal, does contain, potassium, which is, as we all, except for Roger's audience and probably Roger, know from school as the really cool one that reacts like crazy when exposed to water. Fun fact, I had a science teacher who was easy to goad into doing stupid things. We got him to push a piece of sodium into potassium and then chuck it in the water. The resulting mini explosion shot a hunk of molten metal onto one of the student's trousers, barely missing his important boy parts. And it's that kind of responsible decision making that made me the great parent that I am today.
Well, where do you get metals from?
Right, let's just say it is all metals. So fucking what? I mean, you're happy for space to be full of fucking creepy crawlies. Why wouldn't there be metals up there as well? And you know where they come from, right? It's fucking stars. That's where basically every compound in the universe comes from. Ultimately, stars are like giant stuff factories, creating all sorts of cool shit from basic elements. And then they pop, and then that shit gets fired in all directions. I'm sure some of it even hangs around as space dust. And I wonder what that cooked in the hottest thing around stuff would smell like. Probably a bit burned, maybe.
It says space smells like steak. Space smells like space. What's that mean?
Well, aside from the fact that you should slow down and actually read the thing that you are using to prove your asinine point before setting the camera rolling, and that's probably accurate for the man who films his laptop screen. He's definitely rocking one of these bad boys. The height of technological advancement. And second, probably because space, right? Smells like what it is, because that's what it is, and people have smelt it and are like, oh hey, that's that space smell. You know, it doesn't have to be as complicated as your videos are stupid, Roger.
And it smells like steak. It's a strong... I'm not kidding you. Well, it says like seared steak.
That's some description there, Roger. There are a bunch of them. You know, you can't just ignore the things that you don't like and focus exclusively on one single part. I know you think you are a scientist. I have seen your rockheads, that's what they're going to be called now, call you the true sciencer, but you wouldn't know science if it walked up and kicked you in the dupagina. Science would account for all parts of a thing. It takes on all of the information, not just the one little bit that you like and think supports your presupposed claims.
Why would they put that? Space smells like space.
Well, again, you're reading from an AI summary. They might have put that, or it's just something that someone has said. It's not an account of something people have said. It's more of a summary. And the fact that you don't seem to understand that is as unsurprising as it is terrifying to know how far into the wrong you are likely to get in the future due to this technology.
A strong metallic smell. I tell you, things just tickle me.
It may well tickle you. You might find it very funny, but that's because you don't know what you're looking at. It's very easy to be amused by the things that you don't understand because you'll be laughing like a gomless idiot. And no, Roger fans, that's not the same thing that I do here. I make fun of Roger because I understand what he's trying to do and say. And I know that it is complete drivel, but that's only because that is exactly what it is.
It's like gunpowder, burnt meat, alcohol.
It's like they can't quite put their finger on it because it doesn't smell exactly like anything in particular. Roger, you do know how the English language works, don't you, mate? You know what? Don't even bother trying to answer that. Not because your answer would be yes or even no, but because it would be so incomprehensible, I don't think it would even matter.
That was a night out on the town. Shoot, boom, boom, boom.
Well, okay, I think that's something we can all relate to. I mean, is it really a night out until you get the cannons and siege a local fort? I mean, you know they got the good stuff in there, and, well, you could ask them for it. Where's the fun in that?
It's like seared steak, hot metal, and arc welding smoke. All it is metals. Sweet-smelling welding fumes. Mixture of walnuts and motorbike brake pads.
The fact that you can't get over the idea that people, you know, the people who have actually experienced this thing, that you almost certainly have not and will never, have all sorts of ideas of what the smell is, only proves that it doesn't quite smell of anything specific, but that you think you know what it is, and they are silly for not being able to place it, shows the kind of arrogance you have. Why not just say, hey, this is what they say, although I don't know what it is, because I'm an ignorant bumpkin. The end. It would be nice and accurate.
This is too much. Here's where it is. This is really down to the nuts and bolts. They're polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are methanes.
Hydrocarbons and methanes. What the fuck is that supposed to mean, Roger? I mean, methane is a hydrocarbon, but hydrocarbons aren't all just methane. There are all sorts of hydrocarbons. They aren't just a single thing. Unless, of course, he knows that the one in space, well, that's definitely only methane. How he could know that is anyone's guess, and even if he was told that, it's not like he listens to the things people say, unless, again, he thinks he can use it for his own nefarious ends, because he's just so fucking intellectually honest, even though for that you would have to have some kind of intellect, so never mind.
These compounds form in space dust and debris and can also be found in coal, oil, and food.
See, it's found in food. That's the one we're going to go with. Space is food, everyone. No, I'm not going to assume that space is coal, even though, you know, coal is black and so is space. I'm honestly surprised that's not actually his fucking conclusion. Although then again, what is coal if it isn't just a chunk of burned meat? Since again, they do kind of look the same. Pareidolia is the only real science.
All right, so the astronauts are saying it smells like like steak and burning metals. Well, guess what?
Oh, right. Now he's gone right into the actual chatbots. It's not just the AI overview anymore. God damn. I hope this isn't my life now, pointing out that you can't just use AI as proof for your ridiculous claims. You have to actually source that shit and figure out if it's, accurate. I mean, the things themselves, at least at this point, will out and out tell you, FYI, don't believe a thing I say. I might accidentally make something up, you stupid asshole.
The human body contains a variety of metals, large and trace amounts, big, heavy quantities and trace amounts. Metals are essential for biochemical, physiological processes.
Yes, Roger, but here's the important thing. Just because metals are in people and animals and other living beings, that doesn't mean that's where they come from. That doesn't mean it's the only place those things exist. In fact, most of what all things are made of is shit from someplace else. So the idea that it might be out there in space without it all being goddamn flesh is not exactly far-fetched, Roger.
In total, they say there's about 20 to 25 metals. There's actually more than that, I believe.
I do not know how accurate that is, but let's assume that's what they say. And that Roger is here saying, no, they are wrong. But what exactly makes you believe that they're wrong? What experiments have you been doing, presumably on human corpses? And more importantly, how did you acquire them? I'm asking for a friend. Not for doing anything unethical, of course. They're just really hungry.
And they're found in the human body, which can be categorized into major elements and trace elements. The major ones are these. All right. Now, you see this? They don't even include iron. Iron is one of the most major ones in your entire body.
While iron is important, they're all important, that's how bodies work, I can only assume what they mean by major is there's quite a lot of it. Iron, on the other hand, while still very important, is what they call a trace element. You don't need loads and loads and loads of it for your body to work. But there is enough to be detected. It's not some kind of slight against iron, my dude.
Well, it is. I believe it is. Your blood is made out of iron. They're going calcium, phosphorus, potassium, so they're not even including iron in this.
It's like he's personally offended by the idea that it's not number one, as if humans are fucking metallic goddamn robots clanking around in their little iron boots. It shows how vanishingly little he really knows about the subject and just assumes the only things that matter are the ones he's already heard of.
Well, they put it down here, a trace metal? Iron is a trace metal? No, that's ridiculous.
Yes, Roger, it's a metal, and it's present in small amounts. That's what trace means. You are such a doofus. Just because you don't believe, or more importantly, understand, that doesn't mean it's not true. Ultimately, Roger, you need to understand your lack of understanding of these topics is not somehow a replacement for real science. And until the day you can understand that and your fans stop kicking the hornet's nest that is me, I'm not going to stop taking the piss out of you for it.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the